he should have, at least certainly to drive a vehicle. But the drinking was up there. And one of his occupants, incidentally the one you referenced, wanted to go home, change his mind, their mind, and wanted to go home, insisted on a ride home. So Mason was stuck in that regard, driving when he never intended to. Now, be that as it may, it's another example of poor decisions and judgments when you've been drinking. But nonetheless, the accident, now, my understanding of what happened in the accident was correctly stated his vehicle went off the road, flipped, etc. But he says none of the three of us got injured. He says the one occupant did ask to be examined. So he was ambulanced, I think to 3 Rivers, but only treated and released. So if there's more injuries involved than that, he's never been notified by any insurance company or attorney representing an injured party. So we simply present to you, we're not aware of anybody seriously injured. We are aware that the occupant, his occupant, asked for an ambulance ride to the hospital, was treated and released, and we understood that was the end of that. Now, I don't know whether that enlightens you or adds more questions. But what I would say is this: when you mentioned one other case a while ago being more serious, his came to mind. I talked to him a little bit about it. When I just heard this prior case, I assume that's the one you were referencing, where there's a bad accident and bad injuries and etc. All I can say is in his case, he's not aware of any injuries other than to the one occupant, ambulanced and treated and released. Now, again, be that as it may, I would point out maybe the redeeming factors here is he did not flee and elude the police. He didn't get into resisting or etc.
That's true.
So there are some redeeming factors here. I submit to you, we only know this to be an accident because of alcohol, an accident Basically, all I was pointing out to the court was my client wasn't aware of any other injuries if they did happen. And he hasn't been, it's been quite a while, as you pointed out. He hasn't been contacted by anybody suggesting.
Well, he said, the kid said, we don't consider him to be a friend anymore. So I don't think they had any further contact after the accident.
I'm only pointing out he hasn't been contacted by anybody suggesting an above threshold injury claim. That's
Yeah,
all.
so there was no insurance claim or anything made.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Ms. Canfield, what's your thought here?
Well, Your Honor, what I can tell you, I think we were in the midst of changing our computer storage systems for these cases, and I now see supplemental reports that the court is referring to that were not available to me at the time of charging, or I very likely would have charged
crashed into a car, left the scene of the accident, and you crashed into a car, injured the people in your car, and well, this happened a year ago. Sometimes it takes a long time for the $1,237. You need a timeout. You don't really realize it. You feel like you got beat up a little there, but you dodged a great big bullet.
Yes.
Not the least of which is 4 other people didn't get killed that night. And they didn't charge you with a felony. We have about 8 of those cases pending. Several deaths. We probably have 5 drinking, driving with a death case pending. A couple more under investigation. 5 from this year. A few more where there's a serious debilitating injury. One person charged with murder, 2nd-degree murder. I want you to go with Daniel for this probation, and I'll comply with it. No drugs, no alcohol, test as directed,
Yes, sir.
including no marijuana. I don't know if you're a recreational marijuana user, but you can't use it. We're going to test your blood periodically. We're going to get an assessment. You're going to go to the victim impact panel. You're going to pay me about $1,237 in the next year. All right. And you can't drive. And don't get another one of these or you'll really get on the merry-go-round.
No, I can assure you,
All right. Very good. You're good to go.
thank you, sir.